All right, guys, welcome back to Zando Football. Definitely appreciate the support. In this video, I'm going to take you through a game where I go through my thoughts on defense and offense. So I haven't done that yet. Usually I do an offensive analysis type of deal, and then another video do defensive, but in this video, I'll try to do both. And in this video, I decided to be more of a pressure-oriented defense in this game. So let's just get right into it. My opponent came out in single back bunch. So I believe this is where I wanted to get into cover zero pressure. So I called cover zero, but this is where I get into three-way. So by now I should have dropped the video. I haven't recorded it yet, but I know I will drop that video before this video. Three-way is a check we can get into when we call cover zero against bunch, because traditionally when you call cover zero with man-to-man coverage, if we are all on the same level, okay, so that's the three-way. If we are all on the same level, let me go ahead and do this here. It's just the bunch. And let's say we're cover zero press, okay. This is where, they can run some rub routes. Someone can get caught in the muck. And this guy breaks contain, gets open. This guy can't fight over, etc. So you guys should know what rub and pick routes are about. Okay, now we can kind of deal with that if we play at different levels. So we can do that when we call cover zero, where, guys on the point. Maybe this guy's on the second level and this guy's on the third level. And of course, we're playing man-to-man across the board with cover zero. But what I like to do is get into this three-way check to where we may play at the same level. Maybe we have two. Well, you can see the way it is now. This guy's off. And we play at the same level because we have one guy who will play in and the other guy will play out. So if we get something where they try to run like switch type routes, where this guy goes out, this guy goes, in and this guy goes out, we won't run into each other because we are passing them off. I'm going to play the first in, you're going to play the first out. Okay. And the way we do it in the game, so definitely go check out the video. You call cover zero and you just turn your apex into a vert hook, and then you turn your outside corner into a soft squat. Okay. Now, originally, the way it's coded, the safety, I believe he'll be manned up on the tight end, but I changed it to the corner. And the way it works is, so the game has a numbering system where you count from outside in. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, you draw a line down the center. So if this guy were to release to the right, he'd be 4. But if you release to the left, he'd be 2, and this guy would be the 1. All right. So, you always want to understand how the numbering system is defined when you're calling coverages, because that's what match coverage and all that is based off of. You want to be able to know who's responsible for what, and it's related to the numbering system. All right. But the way it works when we do this, okay, usually when you call vert hook and soft squat, okay, vert hook cuts the 2 and soft squat reads the 2, okay? So the way it works is the vertical hook, what cut means you're going to take that receiver if he runs up or back as in back to the ball. All right, so let's say we're the vert hook, and we put him in vert hook, so he's cutting the 2, and we got the 2 here. All right, if he runs a vertical route, I take him. If he runs in, I take him. However, if this guy runs out, when we have a soft squat on the field as well, the soft squat is reading the 2. All right. And the way the soft squat plays is if 2 goes out, then I take that route, right? So it's a way where the vert hook and a soft squat are playing in and out of the number 2. The number 2's route and release dictates who's going to take them and how we're going to play, right? So in this situation, if 2 goes out, soft squat will take them. And the vert hook will then look to cut the number one. We'll play inside or the vertical of number one, right? So let's say we get something like this. 1, 2. We got vert hook here, soft squat here. We are both reading the 2, right? So yellow is for he runs inside or vertical. All right. I'll take that or I'll take that. And in that situation, I'm reading 2. 2 is in or up. I know the vertical hook will have them, so then I take the vertical of number 1. However, in a situation where 2 goes out, all right, well, then the soft squat will take that route, and then now the vertical hook will then match the 1. That's how that works. All right. Now, where it's cool in the game is when we man up. This is how we can play three-way. We can play three-way however we want over here. When we man up the safety on someone different, okay, before he was on the 3, but I manned him up on the 1. The way the game does the coding for the vert hook and the soft squat is once I put man defender on the 1, it X's it out. So to the vert hook and the soft squat, this is the new number 1 and this is the new number 2 pre-snap. Right? So now we are both reading the new number 2, right? So when we man this guy on here, it's just X out theory. All right, now we're reading this guy. So in this situation, if he goes vertical or in, I'll take the route, man to man, okay? And the corner is reading that route. And when he goes up or in, he knows that I'll take him. So then I'll take the new number 1's route, whatever route he runs, right? And in a situation where he goes out, this is good because I have that out leverage. I will take that route as a soft squat. And then now I will take the new, well, I will cut our new number 1. All right, so hopefully that makes sense. This is probably a preview of how I'll explain it in the three-way video. Obviously, before I'll probably put in an edit that says to skip all of this if you know how three-way works. All right, so we can watch and see what happens. Okay, so I mean, this is pretty cool. You could see how it works with, I think he ran PA rollout, right? So I think these guys cross, right? So what am I supposed to do as the vert hook? All right, I'm cutting the 2. Well, because we got X out theory, this is the new number 2. This is the new number 1. This is how it works, right? So he should cut the tight end. That's if I drew the routes right. This guy should cut that 1, and obviously he's man-to-man on this guy, right? I'm eyeing the back, and what I'm doing is, if he stays in the block, I was going to green dog it. Okay, however, if he goes out into a route, I was going to run with it. But when I saw this play action going this way, it sucked me in. And then when I realized it was play action boot, I tried to fight back and get in the window of one of these throws. All right, so let's take a look. Okay, look how it's almost like zone split, right? But look at the vert hook. He's chasing this guy because he is cutting the new number 2. All right, so he's definitely in man-to-man coverage. Soft squat is on his guy. And he had to make an errant throw where we could make a play on the ball. We'll fast forward. And he went into trips tight end flex. So I'm like, you know what? I just want to play a pressure package in this game today. So I went cover 0. And right away, we get into one of the issues of running cover 0 against some formations, right? And obviously, you can see the problem. We are heavily out-leveraged to the flat by the back with this safety. So obviously we can probably make adjustments to deal with this particular formation while in cover 0, but I haven't played cover 0 enough to come up with my own adjustment. Okay, off the bat, what I would probably do, yeah, this would be pretty cool, where if we play against this formation, how about we trot down and I mug this gap and I bring this guy under pressure, but we can put this guy on a 3 receiver hook. Okay, and when you put this guy in a 3 receiver hook, what that does is, if this guy goes out into the flat, then he takes him man to man. right? So this is where we can get into a unique pressure package against this set to deal with this guy being out leveraged. And I guarantee you, if we do this, we trot him down, the guy knows we've been playing a lot of cover zero, he will think, oh, hey, look, I can get him out and then run him to the flat and no one's covering him. And when we snap the ball, this guy's floating out to cover him and we're bringing more than what the offense can block. Okay. So, I mean, sometimes, guys, I'm telling you, man, if you just sit down, don't just play the game, rush and play the game. You run into a problem. Sometimes, just sitting there looking at a still picture of the formation and then just coming up with a way to deal with the problem. Sometimes I think that can really help you, right? Because I'm telling the truth, man. I just came up with that right now, and I think that would be pretty good. Just looking at this formation, how it causes problems for this guy. So how can we alleviate his leverage issue? Well, how about we just have it where you don't play man on this guy at all? And if he's not in man on this guy, who can be in man and be in better position? Okay, we don't have to have a second or third level defender to defend him, right? And that's a way where we can kind of add into the deception here and then bring him down and blitz him. All right. So I don't remember what I did. Obviously, I didn't think that fast in game here. Okay, see, so now this just gives the coverage away, but I mean, he probably knew it was coverage zero anyways. Okay, we got a free rusher. All right, this is a criminal. You should never do this while in pass protection. I don't know why they allowed this guy to come scot-free. Now you have no time to make a play. He threw to the tight end here. And we get minimal gain. Double C close. So this is where I tried to play a little bit funky and get into my cover one. So cover one hole. So I went over this in the video I made two videos ago where I call that coverage, but what I do is I manually blitz these two interior players, right? And now we are rushing 6, and then I just manually man up the deep middle safety on the back, right? And the reason why I do this is because we give a middle of the field closed presentation pre-snap, but in actuality, we are actually we are playing cover 0. Okay. And I get a lot of sacks by doing this because a lot of guys, by the time they process the fact that we are bringing more than what they can block and they try to get rid of the ball, it's too late, right? Because when the middle of the field is closed, subconsciously you assume that we're not bringing 6 on a pressure. All right. So the problem with this is so far in this game, I was playing like cover 0 every play. So I think he just assumed that I was bringing pressure, so he wanted to attack with his best receiver. So I think he was just eyeing this receiver and going to throw it to him no matter what. So he ran a whip route. And one issue that we have against cover 0, the way I play it, I always route commit to the inside and I always pass commit. Pass commit is fine here. But when we route commit to the inside, this is where we run into issues against routes like this. All right. Not necessarily that route, but more so the split of that receiver when running that route. Okay, because the thing with cover 0, you always want to take away the inside. So if I'm playing cover 0 on this guy, okay, you want to play with inside leverage because there's more space to the inside. You can use the sideline as your help, and you have no deep middle safety to help you, right? But the further you move inside as a receiver, let's say he moves in here, okay, well, you still don't want to play with outside leverage while in cover 0, really, right? So I really almost never route commit to the outside while in cover 0, because if you think about it, no matter where you line up, okay, there is always more space to the inside as opposed to the outside. Okay, it's just the way it works. I'm trying to think of a scenario where you have more space to the outside. And I really don't see how you could do it. Yeah, you can, right? Because we're on the hash, and the closest you can get to more space on the outside is if you were here, right? And you have more space this way, but that's the inside, right? But anyways, when you are in a reduced split, although you have more space to run to the inside, and we want to take that away first, you have more space to the outside to run as opposed to this receiver. So it's a little bit harder to defend as an interior defender in man-to-man coverage 0 when they have more space to run routes to the outside, right? So when they have that reduced split, like in stack sets, when running coverage 0, that's where you can run into problems against like whip routes and stuff like that. So he went no huddle. So this is where I'm like, okay, now he's going to really try to attack because he assumes I'm in cover 0. So I'm going to stay in cover 1. And this is where I believe I route committed to the outside because the divider line be something like this. And we're in cover 1. So now we are playing with outside leverage here, funneling to our inside help. And then I turn this guy into inside leverage to kind of optimize the coverage. I believe we still get beat on this guy running inside on like a short cross. And it's kind of annoying, guys, because traditionally I think in like cover 1, maybe not cover 1 hole, so maybe this is right. But things like cover 1 robber, when you get a guy crossing like this, the robber will overtake that route, and then the guy running in man-to-man coverage with that route will then become the new robber coverage because this guy has leverage on a route coming from the other side. Now, I went over a video about cover 1 cross, but it's really hard to do that in game as the game is rolling because you got to make adjustments to get into that and etc. Right? I kind of wish you could just call the coverage and they run the coverage the way it's supposed to be. Okay, so hopefully if Madden developer listens, it's wishful thinking. Please include some of these coverages like pounder and cover 1 cross and things of that nature. I think we're really missing out on a lot of different coverages that will help people enjoy the game a little bit more. So he beats him across the field. That's okay. So he goes single back, ace close. And the way I do it, guys, this is really a suboptimal play. Again, so we're back to what I was saying about the tight sets. I really don't think you should be running cover 0 against a set like this. I'm not a big fan of it because, again, look at all the space they have to run to the outside, and we're playing with inside leverage. Maybe you can play with head up, like you're not playing inside leverage, but you definitely, I really not a big fan of playing outside leverage with no help inside. Okay. But, what I do is when I'm running a coverage and I want to make, content with a particular coverage, I like to just run the same play over and over again and see how it interacts with people and then kind of get into some interesting spots to go over in certain videos for you guys, right? So here I'm like, you know what, I'll just run it anyways. And we're going to get into something interesting here in a way. So he snaps the ball. And we get a free rusher. One of these guys. Oh, no, we don't. So he blocks the back, and now everyone's picked up. And he tries to throw quick, and we get a knockdown there. Okay. So real quickly, I was going to go over to another clip, but, to keep this video short, I wanted to go into the full slide pass protection. And one way a team, like a defense, can really disrupt a quick passing game, right? Like dragging or whatever the case may be, is for your defensive linemen to get their hands up, like a 3-step drop game. Because when you think about like 3-step drop, okay, quarterback gets ready to rips it, right? The defensive line will never make it, right? They'll never get to the quarterback before the ball's gone if he's running, a smooth 3-step drop game. But one way you can kind of disrupt the quick game is, on your rush, you notice it's 3 steps and you get your hands up and you disrupt the ball on its path to the target, right? Can't remember his name. I think it's J.J. Watt, who was an animal when it came to this. Okay, so you may ask, well, how do you deal with that then, right? How do you deal with, defensive linemen jumping up and disrupting the pass of a 3-step game? And one way you can deal with that problem is with full slide protection. Okay, and this is where I was going to cut over to full slide protection, but I think I'm going to skip that, maybe make another video on that. But with full slide protection, the way it works is you never want to use full slide protection as like a base pass protection. Okay. Why don't I do this? So we'll put defensive line. Let's say they're blitzing and they got two linebackers on the inside. Oh my God, I'm so bad. 1, 2. Let's do something like this. Let's put the quarterback. All right. And we're bringing 6. Well, full slide, let's say we're running double slants on this side. Okay, and these guys are man to man. Well, you snap the ball 1 step, get ready to rip it, and this guy notices that, okay, it's 1 step, he's getting rid of the ball quick, we're bringing 6, and then he jumps in the window and he knocks the ball down. Well, one way you could do that is you can cut that guy, right? Where you get low and you cut him so he doesn't get his hands up, okay? And you get that with like full slide protection. I believe they had that. They have full slide in the game, okay? And I think when you do it with the running back, I believe he does cut him, right? So we would full slide to the left. And what that does is you get the back who is now forced to be one-on-one on like a defensive end, okay? And this is a pass protection that you would never want in like a 5-step, 7-step drop passing game, because you don't want your back one-on-one with a defensive end. You're going to get your quarterback killed, right? But you can get away with it in full slide protection because the ball is going to come out before this guy can take advantage of our running back anyway, right? 1-step, ball gone. 3-step, ball gone, right? And on top of that, at the snap of the ball, you snap it, you turn 1 step, you're getting ready to rip it, and the back cuts the defensive end so he can't get his hands up in the window of a throw like this, like we got right here, right? Now, this wasn't a quick game, but our defensive lineman did a very good job. I know I give you, I'll just leave it alone. We'll just move forward. This is 1 minute and 50 seconds into the video, and I have a full 4 minutes left. Gun spread Y, flex weak. So I'm like, all right, what do I want to do? Okay, this is where we get into, so this is what I really wanted to hammer down in this video is you notice I was running a lot of pressure on this first drive, okay? This is where you can really screw with someone's head when you start using the shells, pre-snap shells. So I'm like, you know what? Now I'm going to throw a wrench in the toolbox. Now I'm going to call cover 4, but I'm going to do it from a cover 0 presentation. Okay, but I messed up pre-snap and the shell went to the default. So we're not showing like a true cover 0. So this is where I started moving players around because I wanted to frighten my opponent into thinking that pressure was coming. So look at how far back he drops, right? He's scared out of his mind. He's playing right into the coverage because now he's dropping all the way back. He's afraid of the pressure. Now when he throws the ball has more space to travel, and our defense can rally to the football. All right. So the point of me showing you that, so now I started doing it, right? So you could see shell cover 0 at the bottom. So he went trips tight end flex. So I'm like, all right, now I'm going to call a coverage that I like to play against trips tight end flex, and that's cover 4 palms, but I'm going to do it from a shell cover 0. I want to give the illusion that we are blitzing, and because I've been doing it all game, okay, he's going to have to process information faster because he thinks that pressure is coming. But again, we get into an issue with trips tight end flex, right? This is where certain formations can cause problems. Okay, the formation alone, when we call cover 4 with a shell like this, is we are out of position, right? So obviously this corner wants to be over here. He doesn't want to be aligned over the number 3. So I'm like, all right, I got to move him over here, and this will tip off that I'm not in cover 0. But, he doesn't know that, right? Now, if you don't know how cover 4 palms works against trips tight end flex, I'll go over it really quickly. Okay, the way it works is your middle player, safety, and your apex are in a triangle read with the number 3 and the number 2. All right, so he's in a 3-2 read, he's in a 3-2 read, and this is your 3 rec. And the way it works is both of us, we are reading the route of the number 3. If number 3 runs vertical, then I take the vertical of 3. And in that instance, as I'm reading that route and I notice that he's vertical, I now know that the safety will take that route, and then I take the vertical of the number 2, right? Where it changes is where 3 goes out. And if 3 goes out, well, now the apex knows that he has to take that route and trap it, right? It's a way to where we're trapping like an RPO or a quick out by the number 3 by the apex. And in that situation, because I'm reading 3 and I notice that he goes out, well, I know my apex has him, so then I take the vertical of number 2, right? It's a way to where the defense adapts to certain routes that is being ran from this set, all right? I believe this is stubby from Saban's vernacular. All right. Now, why you would want to run something like stubby is where, again, you're dealing with like an RPO action here, because, if we get something like this, where we fake the handoff and then we throw the RPO, this is where this interior player who's usually here, if he has a run fit and he has to take the out of the number 3, well, he can be put in a conflict. You can show this action, and if I bite and honor the gap, well, then now you can throw me and out leverage me to the flat, to the number 3. Okay, we combat that by allowing this guy to be more aggressive in the box. So when you show this action, I can fit and fill. Okay, and you think, okay, we're good. We can throw this little out. We have this guy out leverage, and then we trap this on the outside, right? Now in Madden, it doesn't work the way it's supposed to, and it's pretty annoying. Okay, also, this guy plays with outside leverage of the number 2. Okay, defenses, where they align, it's always to optimize their assignment post snap, right? So one way I could tell someone's in palms coverage is the apex being outside leverage of the number 2. And he's outside leverage because in a situation where, let's say this guy stays underneath, okay? Well, then he knows he has help by the number 3 when number 2 goes vertical, right? Okay, and also with him being outside of the number 2, okay, when you get an action by like an RPO type action, this guy goes out, bubbles out or whatever, okay, he gets to keep his outside arm free. So when that number 2 receiver goes to block him, all right, he can keep his outside arm free and either make a big play on that RPO action, or if this guy gets the ball, he'd be forced to kind of run back inside to where our help is rallying to the ball. Okay, so I'll leave it at that. Yet another okay, so I didn't even finish the freaking rules and the coverage. All right, so really quickly, so that's our triangle coverage here. This guy is going to be Meg on the outside guy, man, everywhere he goes. And the most interesting part about this coverage is our safety and corner. Okay, the safety is going to cut the tight end, or what is his other, I'm trying to think of it now. Okay, or zone the quarter. Okay, and the corner, how would that work? He will take the tight end. I believe he takes the tight end vertical or outside, or I think he zones. in between the hash and the numbers. So I gotta go back. I've played this defense so many. This is one of my main defenses against this set. Okay. But I believe that's how it goes. And the way, so it's an or type of thing where the way we play is dictated on what the tight end does. Okay. So if the tight end goes vertical like this, then the corner will take him. And in that situation, the safety who's reading that is now really a free player. And I believe if you don't control him, he plays in between the hash and the numbers, looking to help out on something coming from the front side, okay, where everything should be getting matched properly. But in a situation where the tight end goes on like a shallow route across the formation, well, then now the safety cuts that route and the corner takes the safety's responsibility of playing in between the hash and the numbers, right? So the reason why I love to play palms against this set is because I'll take the safety and then I'll user him, and pre-snap, I will align him to this side of the formation. And I do that to deter the offense from running inside zone, because then now we have more bodies to attack in the gaps, which, you know, kind of encourages them to get into a passing play. And then when they pass, and if they get this guy on a drag, well, I have that route out leveraged to the inside, and I can cut that off, and my corner will then buzz out and help on something coming from the front side where we are matching routes anyway, right? So definitely go check out my video. I think I have a video on trips, tight end, flex, and the different defenses I love to play. Double bracket switch, I love to play. I have a video on that this year using the midpoint feature. Palms, I love to play against trips, tight end, flex, and then cover 3 buzz with some adjustments. I love to play against this formation, right? You want to have more than one thing to deal with the formation. And obviously, I'm probably going to mix in that cover 0 stuff that I was talking about, all right? So we'll roll it. Oh, there he goes. He cuts it, and I cut it off too late, right? So we can look at this now. What does the corner do? Okay, he does what I said, right? In between the hash and the numbers. We don't like him that low, so that's kind of annoying. Okay, here, when I grabbed him and I noticed this X icon, all right, I wasn't tapping at all. I almost wanted to like keep him up because I noticed that my players were rallying, and this is where we can kind of knock the ball out. I briefly remember there's a football player talking about Dick Butkus, where a defensive player was getting ready to get tackled. The guy grabbed him, and Dick Butkus was running, I don't know, 15 yards away, running to get ready to hit him. And Dick Butkus was yelling to his teammate, "Hey, hold his ass up, as in keep him up so I can annihilate him." And the guy hurried up and obviously got down because he didn't want to get killed. And I thought that was kind of funny. All right, so we'll move forward. Gun doubles HB weak. And I think this is where, oh, it's 4th and 2, right? So this is 4th and 2, and this is where I got it right. I put the coverage shell in the 0, and this is what ties into, you know, when you're running pressure packages all throughout the drive, this is what makes other coverages play so much better, because now I'm showing, hey, we're in coverage 0, but I'm actually playing a totally different coverage, and I'm just speeding up the thought process of my opponent, and this is where they can make mistakes. And I actually messed up, and I made a mistake. I wanted to play hot quarters. So I messed up because when I run hot quarters, I want to run it to the weak side, not the strong side, right? Where they have 3 on this side. Because if we do it on this side, I can run it properly. But when you do it on this side, now we have to account for the number 3. So if you don't know how to play hot quarters, I didn't even make a video on this. I briefly went over it in previous videos. So I'll make a video on this, guys, but I put this guy in a soft squat when I'm running cover 4 palms. I leave this guy as is, and the way it works is, you know, we're both reading the number 2, right? The corner and the safety, and then we're bringing the pressure off the edge here, okay? Now, the reason why it's a problem on the strong side is because, you know, the 3 rack can be an issue when relating to the number 3. So the way I worked around that here is to just man him up on the number 3. All right. Now there's some minor issues where if The number 2 runs a shallow route. I don't think the safety matches that route. So usually when I run this coverage, I user the safety and I do what I'm supposed to do. So if I was a safety here, okay, and I would have been reading the number 2, and when he goes inside on a shallow route, I would have drove on it right away, right? So I would have been cutting that off really hard. So my opponent was thinking about where to throw. He threw to the flat where we had the 3 rec manned up on the guy, and we're able to turn the ball over. So we'll go over. So now I get the ball, and right away I notice, okay, he's in cover 0. So I wondered if he was doing this because he was pissed at me running cover 0 a lot. So he's like, all right, I'll do it to you now. All right. And, you know, I always welcome cover 0 because I love to attack man-to-man coverage. So I ran PA wide receiver in where we got a 6-man protection, and I didn't set the protection right away, so I was already rusty here. Okay, and the way I should have set the protection, this is one of my favorite plays in the game. It's so good. Okay, this is a 6-man PA protection. So what we're doing is we're sliding to pick up these 3, and then we're big on big with these guys, and then the back is forced to fake the handoff and then go and get this guy, and it's an unnatural movement to work back this way. So what I should have did was half slide to the left, and what that would have done would have gotten these 3 on this slide here, and then we would have been big on big with these 2 guys, and then the back would have been responsible for this guy, a little bit more natural, right? So I didn't notice that until I snapped the ball that I didn't do it. So he may get to me before we can finish the handoff. So this is where you can cancel the handoff mid-animation, as I did right there, just to get him, right? And don't panic, right? You know, I should be good in protection. Everyone's picked up. Look downfield. We got a post, one-on-one coverage. Middle of the field is open, cover 0. Big play. Cover 0 again. All right, so this is where we get into drifting. All right, so, okay, so that went a little too quick there. So now I'm running the Tiger concept. So go check out my run and gun playbook where I went over this from Trey Open, where this guy's running a slant, we reduce his split, and then we're running this little lazy Texas type of route. All right, and I love it against this type of coverage. The problem is when we're releasing the back out into the route, all right, we are only blocking 5 against 6 rushers, right? So the way we deal with this is we have to throw hot. We have to get rid of the ball before the free rusher gets there, and then we have to slide the right way. Okay, a lot of guys, they will run a play like this, and they don't know who's coming free, right? And you can't really optimize the play if you don't know who's coming free. You can't buy more time. What I mean by buy more time is, I believe I had the slide going this way. So that means he's the free player, and we need a little bit more time, and this is where we get into drifting, right? So the quarterback knows that this is the free player. We have no one to block him. He is your responsibility as the quarterback, and we want to throw into our concept side against man-to-man 0. So the way we buy more time is to drift. We just slowly drift, not slowly, but we drift away from the free rusher to buy invaluable time to allow the routes to kind of develop and throw it open, right? So you should see me do that here, right? Look at right at the snap, I'm trying to drift away from that guy, right? Just to buy enough time to throw the slant, right? Can you imagine if we can go back? So I'm here at the start when I released the ball. That was about here when I threw it. Let's imagine if I didn't understand pass protection, I didn't know that he was the free player, and I would have stayed right here, right? So we can imagine right there. Okay, I would have been getting hit. So we throw in open space, put a little bit of Jukathon on. Okay, I tried to do it again. And this time, I just could not get rid of the ball quick enough on that lazy Texas. So then I decided to do something that Peyton Manning used to do all the time. So what I was thinking was, okay, I believe that he's playing cover zero, but I'm like, okay, the user, I don't think he's usering the safety. And maybe because he's not comfortable being responsible in man-to-man coverage on somebody, especially when we're running these routes here. So I'm like, okay, he's got to be one of the linebackers. And usually when you're the user, you're not manually blitzing as the user. You're trying to mug a gap and then get in the window of a throw. So my thinking was, if I could figure out who he's usering, then we can use pass protection and set him as the hot, whoever he is. And what that would mean is we are blocking everyone but him. And because you're bringing 5 and not 6 as the way cover zero should be rushing, then I can hit my back foot and be unafraid of getting hit because we got everyone picked up, right? So how can we figure out who he is, right? Where's Waldo, right? There it is right there. I'll do it again. Oh, there he is, right? So I use cadence or, the fake hike. When you do that, the screen will zoom out to the opponent. And a lot of times they will move once you do that because they think the ball is being snapped and they want to get into what they are doing post snap. Peyton Manning used to do that all the time, right? He used to use cadence and all that, fake snap and all that to get you to get into your shell or to show your hand, right? So that's essentially what I did here. I wanted to figure out where the user was. And when I did this, I knew that that was him, right? Saw how he moved. So now we can set protection and just ignore him because we know he's not coming, right? When I did the fake snap, what did he do, right? He moved this way, all right? That tells me you're not coming on a rush, okay? I know there's videos where, there's guys talking about Peyton Manning and guys are showing blitz and the guy was like, Peyton Manning would point at me and say like, he's not coming, okay? And they would get pissed off because he'd be right. And I think a lot of times, I'm not in the head of Manning. I'm nowhere close to on his level of understanding the game or nothing like that. But I think a lot of times too, it has a lot to do with, maybe it's not you didn't show your hand, so to speak. Maybe it's because the guy behind you showed something that let him know that you have to be coming or you can't be coming, etc. Right? It's all about the structure of the defense. So here I set the protection. Look, I set him as the hot. Okay, you're the hot. So now I believe I put the hot unblock feature on him. So we're not blocking him and I have slide to the right. So now we are 3-man sliding here and then we big on big there. So now I know I'm good in protection, right? Now if I snap the ball and you come, you are scot-free and no one's going to block you. So I got to get rid of the ball before you get to me. But I know you're not coming, right? You show your hand when I fake snap the ball. So watch how we can snap the ball and not panic. I know I'm good in protection here. So now I can wait until that route develop, and now we have enough time to throw it. He's going to play hard on the inside slant because he's thinking, okay, the pressure's going to get home. Obviously, it doesn't, and we get a touchdown. So I'll do one more drive on defense. Obviously, I ran cover zero again. And this is where we get an interception. Not this play, but I think it's the next play. Okay, that's one way you can attack cover zero with some of these screens. So he was getting better and better with his mode of attack. and this is where I get an interception, right? So now I'm like, you know what? Let me run the shell cover 0, but now we're going to run cover 2. Okay. So, you know, if I give you like an illustration where you have one player, player A, and you have player B. Player A runs cover 2 zone or Tampa 2 against whatever formation he's running. And then player B runs that same Tampa 2 against whatever formation he's running. And player B has way more success in big plays and interceptions with cover 2 against this set, doing the same thing he does in cover 2 as player A, but player A gets no success from cover 2 and he wonders why. A lot of the times it has nothing to do with the actual play and everything to do with some of the other plays that cover B runs. Not cover B, but player B, right? Player A may run like 4 or 5 plays and he runs, you know, the vanilla stuff, and then he runs cover 2 against this set and he doesn't get big plays because he's not forcing his opponent to have to process more information, right? So the whole point of me going through that nonsense, you may think, is because all game I've been blitzing the shit out of this guy, right? Left and right, cover 0 here, cover 0 there, 3-way on your bunch, you know. And then now I'm showing cover 0. I've proven over and over again that we are bringing pressure over and over again. So it looks like we're in cover 0, but now we are going to drop off into Tampa 2. And the point is, the effectiveness of our Tampa 2 is improved not by how we play Tampa 2, so to speak, but by the fact that our opponent has to honor the threat of actual pressure. So he's forced to process more information. He's forced to think on his feet. And this is where they make mistakes. You'll see here, he will throw what looks like a bonehead throw down the middle of the field because it looks like we're bringing pressure with that shell feature. All right, look how he's rolling out of the pocket early when he didn't have to. So I cut off the number 2 here as the hook curl and pressure in his face from our front 4. So he lofts it up to the middle, and now we have 3 players rallying to the high point of the football. Okay, and that's what Tampa 2 is all about. Tampa 2, if you throw up floaters against Tampa 2, you are asking for interceptions.
Too much faith in your right? I think this was one of those situations here, Mike, where there was nowhere to go with the ball. He tried.
So here's a play from the Y trips formation that I hopefully will get around to. It's very hard to get into my scheme, guys, because as you can see, I drop a lot of different videos on a lot of different stuff. Okay, he kept running cover 0, right? Obviously, that's all I was running, and maybe he wanted to, you know, return the favor to me. And I want you to watch this poetic throw on the outside here. What we do here is we turn this guy into a slant, and essentially what we're doing is we are attacking one of the weaknesses of cover 0 press, right? When you have all of these guys on the same level or the same horizontal plane, okay, this is where we can get rub and pick action with certain routes. And that's the whole point of this design here. The slant with our guy here, kind of almost want to run like hip to hip right underneath this guy and force this guy to have to run over the hump or under the hump or through his player. And watch the interaction we get here.
Tries to fit that one in there anyway, and he's lucky that it just falls incomplete.
On 3rd down, Rodgers. This one is pulled in. Are the feet in bounds?
So that's it. Just a video dealing with cover 0, how to attack it briefly, and then me utilizing it to make other coverages in my toolbox play better. I hope you got something from this video, and I hope you keep coming back for more, man. Peace.